Considering Viva Tangerine by Wyndham for your next vacation? You've come to the right place. Come along as I take you for a tour of the resort grounds and share some highlights and insights from my week-long stay. You will get a feel for what to expect from the beach and pools to the food, entertainment, and overall vibe. We will even take a quick look at the town of Cabarete, which is just outside the resort. The very first thing I noticed as we pulled up to Viva Tangerine was its location. This all-inclusive resort is located in the beach town of Cabarete along a busy street. I'm used to vacationing in Cuba where most resorts are tucked away and secluded, so this was a new experience for me. I was a little concerned we'd hear traffic noise inside the resort, but surprisingly, we did not. Once you're inside the resort, it feels like its own little world. You'd hardly know there's a vibrant beach town just outside the gates. I loved exploring Cabarete, and I will be sharing more about that later. But first, let's start our tour at the reception lobby. This is where you will check in, exchange money, or head out on an excursion. Reception is somewhat separated from the rest of the resort, so it's not really a place where guests hang out, but it does make a beautiful first impression. After we checked in, a staff member took us on a quick tour of the resort grounds and answered any questions we had at that point. I really appreciated this and found it very helpful. Something else I really enjoyed about this resort is its size. It's very compact, so everything is close and easy to get to. Once you leave the reception area, there's one main pathway, and we are on it now. It branches off to accommodation buildings and then leads to what I like to call the main hub of the resort. If you continue down this path, you'll arrive at the pool, which overlooks the beach. We will take a closer look at the pool later in the tour, along with some activity highlights, but first, we are going to head into the main hub building. As you enter from this direction, the first things you will come across are the excursions office, the airline representative desk, and customer service if you have any questions. Customer service is also where you can make your a la carte reservations if you don't want to use the app. Quick tip: download the Viva Resorts app before your trip. It lets you book a la carte restaurants, view the daily activity schedule, and access other helpful resort info. I had the app on my phone, but I forgot to check it and missed the foam pool party. There isn't an activities board, so the app is the best way to see what's happening each day. And here's a little insider's tip. There are actually 2 women's washrooms in this area. Most people use the one right here, but we found another one around the corner that was almost always empty, and I'll be sure to point it out when we get there. This is Melt, one of the a la carte restaurants. During our stay, it was serving international cuisine. My friend and I ate here once, and it completely surprised us. We didn't know if we'd enjoy it because nothing on the menu really excited us, but we both ended up really enjoying our meals. Right beside the Melt restaurant is a staircase and elevator that take you up to the theater. I believe there was a show in the theater most nights, but we only went to one. Evening shows at all-inclusives just really aren't my thing, but the one we did see was called Passion, and I thought it was pretty good. It was a song and dance production. All right, we are back at the bottom of the stairs in the main building. Continuing on with our tour, here you will find the medical office, the spa, a gift shop, the fitness center, and that second women's washroom that I mentioned earlier. And now we are back in the main open area with customer service and the stairs leading up to the theater. On the other side of the elevator, there's another set of stairs that go down to the disco. I believe the disco was open most nights until 2 a.m. Continuing on with our tour, we are now entering the buffet, which was open breakfast, lunch, and dinner. One thing I really liked was the layout. The food stations were spread out nicely, and we never found it crowded. I did find the selection a bit repetitive, and I personally had a hard time finding protein that appealed to me, but I always found something to enjoy. Breakfast ended up being my favorite, which is kind of funny because I usually skip it, but I really enjoyed the made-to-order omelets, fresh fruit, and croissants. We often skipped lunch after having a late breakfast, and for dinner I usually went for the pizza, Caesar salad, and potatoes. I also really liked that they had self-serve water, juice, and pop stations. Here's a look at what was available during our stay. Across from the buffet is the main gathering spot of the resort. It's where people go to grab a drink, relax, or enjoy some entertainment. There are a couple of foosball tables, a pool table, and a TV for watching sports or special events. This is the bar of the resort. The only other bar that I found was inside the disco at night. I did notice lineups here in the afternoon, but they moved surprisingly fast. The bartenders were very efficient, and we never had to wait long for a drink. On some afternoons, they also set up a portable bar beside the pool, which I thought was a great idea. It only served basic drinks, but it definitely helped with the extra demand. As for the drinks, they were good and they had a good supply, but I still haven't found a Dominican cocktail that I absolutely love. I'm mostly stuck with rum and cokes and gin and tonics, with the occasional banana mama or pina colada. One feature I really liked here was the self-serve filtered water stations located throughout the resort. There were lots of stations. I even had one in my building. It was nice not having to wait in line at the bar if all you wanted was a drink of water. Viva Tangerine has also moved away from using plastic water bottles, so you won't find bottled water in your room fridge. Instead, you will receive a refillable glass bottle for your stay. I personally found it a bit heavy, so I'd recommend bringing your own reusable tumbler. All right, now we are getting to the good stuff. This resort has one large main pool that stretches across the whole area. There is also a smaller pool at the other end, and I will show you that in a bit. This pool has different levels throughout, with shallow shelves that you can sit and relax in the water, as well as deeper areas. As for the towels, when you check in, you will receive a towel card, which you will then exchange at the towel hut. This is also where you will go to get the card back before leaving. The towel hut is open daily for exchanges. I found this resort to be quite lively. I noticed pool activities most days in the late morning and again in the late afternoon. I saw dance lessons, pool games, fitness classes, and as I mentioned earlier, we caught the very tail end of the foam party. They also had an aerial trapeze style activity where guests could learn different tricks. I didn't participate, but it looked fun. My favorite thing to do in the evenings was sit around the pool and simply enjoy the atmosphere. There was usually some sort of light entertainment, like a singer or saxophone player. Sometimes they'd even have a pre-show performance to promote the theater show, and we also saw karaoke here one evening. I love sitting outside with a drink, feeling the light breeze, which oddly seemed to die down at night, listening to music, and having great conversations. It was one of my favorite parts of the day and exactly what a relaxing vacation should feel like. This building is home to the Mexican and Italian a la carte restaurants, as well as the snack bar. We ate at the Mexican restaurant once, and it ended up being our least favorite of the 3 a la cartes. We were really looking forward to it, but the food just wasn't what we were expecting based on other Mexican restaurants we visited. That said, the presentation was fantastic, and we still enjoyed our evening. The Italian restaurant on the other side of the building was our favorite. We enjoyed it so much that we went back a second time. The pizzas were incredible, and I also enjoyed the ravioli. The Italian restaurant and snack bar share the same space. During our visit, the snack bar served a buffet-style selection and was generally open when the a la carte restaurants were closed. This snack bar isn't open 24 hours and doesn't have its own bar. And you are currently looking at what was offered one night around 11 p.m. Now for my favorite part, the beach in Cabarete. The beach is a very short walk from the pool area, and the resort has 3 beach access points. Quick tip: you will find beach vendors near this entrance by the restaurant building. If you're not interested, I found the easiest thing to do was politely say no thank you and keep walking. I also found it best not to stop and chat unless I was actually interested in what they were selling. And another tip, my friend and I found it best to use the furthest beach entrance near the volleyball net because we were never approached there. We also found the vendors were most active on our first day and then we rarely noticed them. I'll continue showing the rest of the property, including the quieter pool area that became my favorite spot. But first, let's take a look at the beach. I filmed this early in the morning, so it is very peaceful. One thing to note about this beach is it's usually always windy. During our stay, it usually started picking up around 10 a.m. and settled down again around dinner time. On our first day, the red flag was flying, and I will be honest, the sand was everywhere. I was a little worried that this would be the norm, but thankfully it wasn't. We had yellow flags for the rest of the week, and I found those conditions much more enjoyable. I actually came to appreciate the wind because it made relaxing by the pool much more comfortable without getting too hot. It also filled the sky with kite surfers and other water sports, which was one of my favorite things to watch. I never got tired of seeing them. As for swimming, I can't really comment because I never went in the ocean. It just isn't my thing. My friend went in once, and her biggest complaint was how much sand ended up in her bathing suit. The ocean was usually quite wavy, but I still saw plenty of people swimming. Where this beach really shines, in my opinion, is for walking. The sand is packed down along the shoreline, making it easy to walk for long distances in either direction. Head left and you will pass condos and rental properties. Head right and you'll find yourself in the heart of Cabarete, with its bars, restaurants, surf schools, and lively beach atmosphere. I have more to share about Cabarete, but for now, we are back at the resort and I have one more area to show you. We will pass one more small pool and then you'll see that orange sign that says restaurant. When we first arrived at the resort, an employee explained that this bar and restaurant are not part of the resort, so any food or drink purchased here are an extra cost. But I later discovered there was also a pool in this area, so of course I had to ask. And yes, Viva Tangerine guests are welcome to use it. My friend and I actually preferred spending time here because it was usually much quieter than the main pool. It's a bit of a walk from the resort bar, but we didn't mind. And in the afternoon, some of the locals would come and enjoy the pool as well, and we thought that was pretty cool. I probably wouldn't have discovered this pool if my room hadn't overlooked it. If you'd like to see my superior room, I already have a full room tour here on my channel, and I will leave a link in the description below. Alright, as I mentioned at the very beginning, the beach town of Cabarete is just steps outside the resort. You can explore it from the beach or from the street, and I really enjoyed both. I love exploring new places and experiencing the local culture, so this ended up being one of my favorite parts of the trip. As soon as you walk out of the resort, you are in Cabarete. There's a gas station directly across the street, which is where we eventually grabbed a taxi to go downtown. But first, I'm going to show you what is right here. Head to the left, and within a couple of minutes, you will find 2 grocery and general stores named Janet's and La Rosa, along with other local shops and bars. Janet and La Rosa are handy if you need something you can't find at the resort, but we didn't find much in the way of souvenirs. We were told that there is a larger Janet in the downtown area with souvenir shops nearby, so that's where we decided to go next. Since it was our first time exploring Cabarete, we weren't sure just how far the downtown area was, so we took a taxi there and planned to make our way back to the resort by foot. We found our taxi waiting across the street at the gas station and paid 400 pesos each for a 5-minute ride. We were also told that there's a local bus that's much cheaper, so there are options. Our day in Cabarete was incredible. We found the souvenirs we were looking for, stopped in local shops, and enjoyed a couple of drinks as we slowly made our way back to the resort. What really stood out to me was how welcome we felt. Everyone we met was super friendly. At one point, we were getting tired, so we stopped to rest on a step. That's when we met a gentleman named Hermosen, who invited us to sit with him while he was on his lunch break. We ended up talking about life, his job, and Cabarete. He even gave us a tour of the boutique hotel that he worked at. Shout out to Hermosen. Thank you for making an already awesome day even more memorable. After that, we finished our walk back to the resort. This ended up being my absolute favorite day of the week because none of it was planned. It was just one of those unexpected travel days that turn into a lasting memory. A special shout out to Valerie and Eve. Thank you for coming over and introducing yourself after recognizing me from Grandma 2 in Cuba. It was so nice getting to know you both, sharing stories and reminiscing over great memories from our home away from home. I'd also like to thank Barbara for joining me on this adventure. We had such a great time, and I'm really grateful for the time we had together and the chance to get to know each other even better. And thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful as you plan your next vacation. Happy travels!